Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's card making video, I'm going to be sharing with you a brand new shaving cream technique that I learned from some middle schoolers. If you're not familiar with shaving cream backgrounds, it's suspending ink inside shaving cream and picking up a print. Here are what my typical shaving cream backgrounds look like. I will show you kind of how I made these if you, again, aren't familiar. So they have a certain swirly kind of look to them. But these prints right here, made by an 8th grader whose art class I help teach, are totally different. And I was so impressed with the look of these, I just had to try it. So when doing shaving cream, you need something to put it on. I like to use like a paper plate, or this is a styrofoam tray that had croissants on it from the bakery. And I'm going to put down a layer of shaving cream. Now, it doesn't need to be super thick, but you do want to kind of spread it out so that there's no openings and the ink will land on the shaving cream. Next, I'm adding some dye-based ink, like the kind you would use to re-ink a stamp pad. And then I'm going to swirl this around with a plastic knife, the same knife I used to flatten it out. And right about here is where I would typically take a print. I would take a piece of cardstock, press it into the shaving cream, and pick it up. But the middle schoolers, they swirled and swirled and swirled and swirled theirs. I don't know if you're familiar with middle schoolers, but you tell them one thing and they kind of do their own thing. And that's what they did. And they just mixed it all till the shaving cream was pretty much a solid color. So then Gideon, he decided to put more ink on top of that smeared, shaving cream, took a piece of paper and just drug it across the top and smeared those dots of ink. And then press the paper into it, like I'm doing here, and then you're going to have shaving cream all over the cardstock. So you want to take something you could use, like I used to scrape across the top, was like a old gift card, or you can use this scraper here by scrapbook.com, and look at how cool that looks. The lighter color underneath with the blue and the green on the top. So cool. So one of the other things that these kids did was, once all the ink was on there, they would just mix it all together in the shaving cream. And I'm thinking, that's going to be ugly. It's going to make a weird color, but it didn't. You can see it still is pink, but it has some of that green and blue in it. It's got some variation in it, but it's pretty much a solid color. So I'm going to save that one and use it for later for sure. All right, this is the one I'm using for my card today. I cut a piece of it that is just a little bit smaller than 5 by 7. And I'm going to be using this pretty wonderful stamp set from Trinity Stamps for my card today. I just love that vase with all the flowers in it. I think it's really pretty. And then we've got a lot of different sentiments that we can choose from, and I'm going to mix and match them. So here's what it looks like, all stamped out with black ink on some white paper cardstock. And then I'm going to use this die to cut it out. I wanted to show you this die because it kind of looks weird. It has those metal pieces coming inside the frame, and that is because this die cuts openings around those flowers, and I think that's such a cool look. And did you notice that the dies cut out all the words? Love it. Okay, so now I have picked out some Copic markers that I thought coordinated pretty well with my background, and I'm setting to coloring. So I had the B002 marker there for my darkest color, and then I'm bringing in BG02 for my lighter color, and just trying to get a lighter highlight over on the right hand side of the vase. So I'll just go back and forth between those two colors, and sometimes I let it sit and I'll go back and add more of my darker color if I need more of a shadow. So that's what I'll do there. For my green, I had YG05 and then YG03. On those tiny little leaves, I only use the darker color. And then for my flowers, I'm going to do all of my flowers pink, just to keep it, matchy-matchy with my background, because I like matchy-matchy. But you really could, do lots of different colors with these flowers and have fun with it. And that's, the perk of making your own cards, is customizing it to how you like it. So I am using R21 as my darkest color, and then R20 as my lightest. Now, these colors are really close together. So what I like to do is go really heavy with R21 and really light with R20, and I can always come back and add more shadow. For the center of my flowers, I decided to go with YG01. It's a very bright and light green, so I thought it coordinated really well. And there it is, all colored up and ready to go. I think it turned out beautiful. Hard to go wrong with that image. All right, I have a little metallic watercolor here in gold that I'm splattering. Do you see this like super cool thing I'm holding? It's like a ring with a glass top from Pear Blossom Press. That is a palette. And you can use it for watercoloring. It's a bling palette, and it fits on your ring finger. It's so cool. Anyways, had to share that. I splattered my background, set it aside, and I'm die cutting the word mom using that Scripty Happy Mother's Day die set you see here from Trinity Stamps. It also has the word mom in it, besides just Happy Mother's Day, which I love. So I'm using just that. Mounted it on its shadow layer, and now we can put all the things together. So I have some vellum here that I am attaching with some vellum adhesive. I'm going to hold this up so you can see. It's really hard to notice unless you're looking for it. So I like that tape there, tape runner for vellum. So I'm trimming off the edges. I like to cut my vellum or pieces like the extend across your card a little bit bigger than they need to be, and then I can cut it flush with the edge. So I typically will do that when making a card with that type of look on it. All right, so I'm going to use thank you here, and I'm going to add in the word mom. But see how the words are, they're die cut separate from each other. So you can stack these words, you can make them vertical, you can mix and match with the other words in the die set. So I like that. All right, now I am making a triple bow, wrapping this twine around my fingers in a figure 8 3 times. Then I just take the end, wrap it around those figure 8s, and then tie a knot. And then I have my triple bow. Isn't that cool? And then I'll attach that to the vase with a glue dot there. And I'm just going to kind of squish it so it's a little bit smaller with my finger. See, I'm pushing it in, and then I won't have too much adhesive extending past the knot on that bow. All right, it's time to add this to my card base, which is 5 by 7. So it's a 10-inch by 7-inch piece of paper that I scored at 5 inches. And you can see I cut my background just a little bit smaller. It's 4 7/8 by 5 7/8. So I have a little bit of white border around there. And now it is time for the bling. Bring on the gold baubles. So I just wanted to bring out more of that gold splatter background, my gold twine, and baubles are the perfect way to do that. So I'm gluing them in place and using this pickup tool from Trinity Stamps. It's like my favorite thing. The pickup tool and the little tray that I can just pour the baubles back into the container makes life so much easier. I love it. So that finishes up card number 1, but I thought we better make 2 cards because there was another kind of technique in there, similar, that I wanted to try. So we're going to do that right here. So for this technique, you can see that this paper has no mixed color in the background. It's just the smearing of the colors. So I wanted to try that. I am going to do the same thing, smear out the shaving cream, give it a flat surface. The kids got really particular about how flat their shaving cream was. I'm not as particular, it's okay, but I wanted to see if I could get any ink blending when I was doing this because I used pink, yellow, and blue. So could I get orange? Could I get green? Let's see. So I'm going to scrape that off, and you can see I do have some green. I do have touches of orange, and I thought this was a nice, bright, springy paper. Also, you can dip your paper in again without doing anything into your shaving cream, and you're going to get a completely different look than you did the first time. Also, if you have some open spaces, dip it again. Your shaving cream can layer on top of your shaving cream. So it's just really the shaving cream is suspending that ink, and you can pick it up, you know, multiple times until you like, oh, this is too light or the ink's gone. But it's going to get lighter each time you take more ink away. All right, so the other thing that the kids did, once all the ink had been pulled up. They're mixing it all together, and I did that on the first one, so I had to do it on the second one. I thought, oh, this one's going to look bad with all those colors, but it really just turned green mostly. And then I've got a little bit of flecks here and there of yellow, of the blue, and I definitely will use this as more of a solid color later. So there's the 3 prints. I'm going to use the very first one that I made right here for my card. This time I'm going to use this cute Bloom and Grow stamp set. I love all the gnomes that Trinity Stamps has. This is their latest one from their Happily Ever After release, and I thought it was so cute, the little gnome popping up out of the watering can. Yeah, so I'm using that, and I'm going to use this sentiment right here that says, "Thanks for helping me grow." Isn't that cute? So all the things are die cut. You can see this one also die cuts around the watering can, around the handle and the little spout there. I love it. So I started out with C4 for my watering can, and now I'm bringing in C2. These are cool gray markers, and then I'm going to finish blending those together with my C0 marker. This is very simple Copic coloring, leaving the highlight in the center, which helps make it look more rounded, and I think it's just a kind of old-fashioned look, but I'm going to add pops of color to it because it's got those little lines and scallops on it, so that's going to help it really be dressed up. Next, I'm going to color his hat with the same colors I used for the vase on the first card, so B02 and BG02, and that's just going to really pop underneath all the flowers that are on top of it. So I like this color a lot, and it goes well with the blues that I used in my shaving cream background. So R21 and R20 for the pink flowers, and then the other flowers I'm going to leave white and give them a yellow center. So I have Y15 and Y17 for that, and then the leaves, I'm going to do the exact same colors I did on the first card, YG05, YG02. No, YG03. And then for his skin, I only used E31. So I really concentrated on keeping the color really dark towards the brim of his hat and then really light as I worked towards the bottom of his cheeks and nose. I use the same cool gray markers for his beard, and I brought in darker ones for the rocks. Now, back to the background, I'm going to splatter this with some kind of blue, almost, kind of turquoise metallic ink, and once that was dry, I'm mounting it onto my mini slimline card, which is a 6x6 piece of paper scored at 3 inches, so mini slimline. Then I added a strip of vellum, which the end of it will be hidden behind my gnome. I'm popping him up onto the background with some foam squares, adding this cute extra little flower from that stamp set, and then my sentiment. You can see how skinny it is and how nicely the die bubble cuts around it. Those are the things that make me happy. I'm going to trim off that little extra part of the pot that hung off the bottom of the card, and now I'm adding these super cute flowers. They're springtime sugar posies, but look how they match my card so perfectly. I love it. So I just added a bunch of those for embellishment, and I love how it really added a little something extra to my card. So there is card number 2. I would love to know which of these cards that you love best, like the shaving cream backgrounds. Which one do you like? Do you like this technique? Would you try it? That's my goal, is that you guys would see this and want to try these techniques. Just like I did with that class of 8th graders. It's a part of a homeschool co-op that I do with my daughter. And so we were making some mixed media journal pages, and the shaving cream was the background. You can also make these backgrounds on a smaller plate and cut your cardstock down to card front size to begin with. So anyways, enjoy. I hope you give it a try, and I will see you all again very soon on the next video. Happy stamping! Bye!